Dr. Abimbola Lagunju has heard his views about Nigeria's political system and insecurity issues. The doctor, who is also a renowned writer, made the remarks on Thursday during his exclusive interview with OPC TV. He talked deeply about Nigeria's political state, how it influences writings, and probable solutions for a better Nigeria.
My sojourn, my working in different countries, I've lived in different countries, some in Africa, in Europe, I visited Asia too. In the course of my travels, I've seen so many things. I've seen development and I've seen underdevelopment. But one thing that has always touched me is how underdeveloped Africa is. How the plight of people living in rural areas, how far they are from being at par with people living in rural areas of United States, of Europe, and how far they are from basic amenities of life. There's a problem of access to basic services. When the services are there, they are not functional. When I talk about basic services, I'm referring to health services, basic health services, and education, or the different kinds of other basic necessities of life. So these things have always bothered me. It's not only in Nigeria, it cuts almost across the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. The hardship is the same. So in some of my political essays, I've questioned why. I have tried also to profile solutions. I have worked in contexts where I have profiled solutions to several African governments, particularly when it concerns maternal and child healthcare. That's my area of specialty, working for the survival of under fives. So I have written different things on how Africa can move forward. Nigeria is part of Africa. It shares in its problems. These problems are historical. They come from a very, very long time. So, but somehow we don't seem to be making a headway, not only in Nigeria, in many African countries. When it appears that there is progress, like they say, one step forward, 2 steps backwards. When it appears there is some progress, you read some fantastic things about growing economy, how fast the economy is growing, the fastest in Africa. Then you see it doesn't really touch the common people. They don't get that, they don't see it. And then suddenly you hear, okay, the economy is no longer developing now, it's in recession, it's stagnant, and so on and so forth. So all these things, they bother me. Knowing fully well that sub-Saharan Africa is endowed with so many natural resources that if they are properly exploited and used, and the people, we should not be, at this stage of existence, And another thing that I've always looked at is that our lives, the life of a common black African person is simply existential to survive. It's about survival, But life is not only about survival. You also have to see quality of life. Survival is living in a mud house and then there's no toilet, then you have to go into the bush and so on and so forth. Quality of life is having a house with light, with running water, with a toilet, with children being able to go to school, with pregnant women being able to access good health facilities, children being born, under healthy conditions. So that's the quality of life in Africa. Even it applies to everyone. When you live in sub-Saharan Africa, you're faced with the challenges of quality of life. So I address that also in in my books.
He also spoke about the uniqueness of Yoruba tradition, making reference to what OPC, Odua People's Congress, stand for, stating the organization was formed to promote Yoruba tradition and that it is impossible to merge with Amotekun as they are different.
Amotekun, what does Amotekun mean? Amotekun means leopard. It's Yoruba word for leopard. It's a Yoruba construction. It's a Yoruba conception, Amotekun. What is OPC? Odua People's Congress. It's also a Yoruba conception. There are two. For me, there are two different things. But somewhere also they can work together. One, Odua People's Congress. The primary responsibility is the promotion of Yoruba culture. Yoruba culture. Encouraging, emphasizing Yoruba-ness, that people will know about Yoruba culture. That's the primary thing that I see with OPC, whichever one it is. Then Amotekun was not created to promote Yoruba culture. It's a Yoruba security outfit. Over the years, OPC, because when you want to assert your existence, when you want to assert your culture, there may be people who, for one reason or the other, want to tamper with that process. That is, they see that assertiveness as a threat to them. So in which case they can just say, oh, no, let's go and do this or do that there. So over the years, OPC has had to be called in to defend the Yoruba culture, Yoruba tradition. And I think that's the way that people see them more, but they don't see the promotive part of OPC. They see the other side of when they really want to defend the culture and the tradition. That's what people see most. So if Yoruba culture, Yoruba existence, Yoruba traditions are under threat, then naturally those people who are there to safeguard, to protect the culture, they must be called in to defend these values. If Amotekun defends the territory of the Yorubas, if Amotekun protects the Yorubas living under any threat, particularly from outside, then you can see that there is a little space. You can see there is a common ground where Amotekun and OPC can collaborate. But it does not mean merging Amotekun into OPC. They are two different things with two different visions.
Dr. Abimbola Lagunju, born in 1960, has authored 17 books. His work span 4 literary genres: poetry, political essays, political satires, and short stories. He studied medicine in St. Petersburg, Russia. He is married with 3 children.
My name is Abimbola Lagunju, a native of Ibadan in Oyo State. I'm a medical doctor by training, but since after my training, I've veered into so many things. I currently work in international development, where I've been working for the past 25 years. Over the years, I've written 17 different books in 4 different genres. I have books of poetry, I have books on different political essays. I have satire, and I have fiction. So that's about all that I do. Then recently I produced 2 films, based on a couple of my books. One is Kasali, which is on YouTube, and the other one is called Kumbi. It's also on YouTube. Insecurity in Nigeria, it's a big challenge now. Everybody talks about it. There is a book called The Social Contract. It's a treatise, actually, written by several years ago, over 100 years ago, by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. In Social Contract, Jean-Jacques Rousseau explains that, like individuals, for example, we are living in this environment, in this estate. Everybody has a gate. Everybody also probably has a gate man. Some have dogs, to provide individual security for themselves. But then you will see that sometimes the security challenges overwhelm individual security. So there is a need for people to come together to create an association. The primary goal of an association is to offer collective security. When you are there as a member of the association, you are surrendering part of your rights to protect yourself. You are surrendering to the common will. That is, now that you have an association, you are vesting an important part of your own personal security in the common security of the association. In Jean-Jacques Rousseau's work, that's what he says. How do you bring about a nation state? The nation state you bring about when there are, different ethnic nationalities, for example, who have diverse interests, who are of diverse religious backgrounds, and they say, okay, let's come together. Let's come together to form a state. Let's work together, because we do not have sufficient resources to properly protect ourselves. It's all about security. Then people now sit together, the big and the small ethnic nationalities, and say, okay, this is the way we're going to work together to achieve our collective security. And then a nation state is born, because each of those component members, people who participate in that meeting, they are surrendering their own individual will, individual capacity to the common will. So you have the big thing, which is the nation state. The primary responsibility of such a union is the collective security of the people, that everybody within the space of that nation state will feel very, very safe. That is the primary security. Unfortunately for Nigeria, it did not happen that way. The different ethnic nationalities that make up this country, they did not sit together before the country was born. The country was amalgamated, the northern and southern protectorates, with the Lagos protectorate were amalgamated together in 1914. The peoples were not consulted. It was simply an idea, something that happened that somebody wanted, the Lord Lugard, he wanted to do, and thus Nigeria was created. A strange thing, but it did not start with Lord Lugard. If you remember the Berlin Conference of 1884, I think it was November 1884 to February 1885, when the colonialists there in Germany took pencil and divided up Africa. And then they said, okay, this is mine, and they gave names to those different countries, The one of Nigeria came much later. It came in 1914. And Lugard, because Nigeria, this part of the world, in the Berlin Conference, was given to Britain. And they put the two together, and you got your Nigeria. The peoples were not consulted. The peoples were not involved in the process. The peoples were not asked, would you like to stay with this or this? Under which conditions would you like to exist together as a country? And because that was not done, and because over the years, successive Nigerian leaders have not had the courage to actually call a serious, transparent, sovereign national conference where different ethnic nationalities will put their grievances on the table, where they will explain how they want to be part of the union, what exactly do they expect the union to do for them. Because it never happened. Then you question, if you look at Jean-Jacques Rousseau's definition of the birth of a nation state, then you say, okay, is this really a nation state? Is it a true nation by the standards of a nation? So, okay. But then people thought that, okay, maybe by just living together, that probably, well, by living together over the years, we'll start to get to love each other and start to understand each other. But it has not happened. Then people thought again that maybe by putting in place a political process like democracy, that maybe we can actually get to bring ourselves together as a nation state. Democracy in the, believing the fact that people believing the fact that people, when they want to vote, will vote on principles. On principles, on things that, on principles, different principles, being put forward by different political parties. Different political parties, they come out with their own manifesto. A lot of people, if I were to ask you the manifesto of any of the political parties in Nigeria today, I'm sure you wouldn't know. Nobody cares about the manifestos of political parties these days. Nobody reads them. Even the core members of those parties, if you were to ask them the contents of their manifesto, they may not be able to tell you. In which case, there are other considerations when people vote, not on principles. They don't consider principles. They have other considerations. The first one, ethnicity. Then the second one, religion. These 2 points are divisive. They divide. They divide. They don't unite. They cannot be the basis for the creation of a nation state. So people vote along these dividing lines. So in a way, it means that, well, somewhere thereabout, a nation state, defining Nigeria as a true nation, as a state, is still a bit. We haven't gotten there. The political process cannot bring about the birth of a nation state. It's not possible. So to come to the issue of security, if the responsibility of an agreed nation state is collective responsibility, and then if you say there is no nation state, of course there cannot be security. So that's the problem with Nigeria. So that's the way that I see it. Oodua Republic, like I explained to you, I explained Jean-Jacques Rousseau's treatise to you. People must come together to say, okay, we want to be together. No, we must come together. We want to come together to be a nation state. That is, the Yorubas are there, the Fulanis are there, the Hausas, the other Igbos are there, and other ethnic nationalities. And these are the conditions under which we want to exist together. It's never been the case in Nigeria. Nigeria was amalgamated in 1914. Nobody was there. People, they were not there. If the center, if over the years, this union that you call Nigeria with certain longitudes and latitudes, if the leaders had been able to get people to sit down to discuss, then I don't think we would have been at this point now where people, different ethnic nationalities, say they want to break away from Nigeria. If you break away from Nigeria, it's in a way, when you say break away from Nigeria, it means that Nigeria is not, it's like something abstract. Oh, break away from it. You break away. If you break away, then it's no longer Nigeria. Say, okay, we want to do autonomy. We want to do this. We want to do that. I think, that as bad probably as Nigeria has been since its existence in 1914, there are some good things that have come out of it. Despite all the problems, there are some good things that can be pointed out. And I think if there are inadequacies now, it is time for people to really sit together. Those who call the shots at the central level, they should allow people to sit together, to work out something for themselves. There was, I think it was in 2014 that we had what you could call a semi-sovereign national conference, but we don't know what came out of it. Nobody knows. So we need to engage in a transparent process to work out the rules of engagement of the union. We really need it, but it has to be a very, very transparent process. It has to be something that is acceptable to all. When the people in position of power, when they have the courage to call out, to engage in a process that is transparent, in which people will discuss about themselves, about their vision for the union, then of course you will see that those that are agitating for breaking away and the rest of it, they may change things. I strongly believe that when there is a problem, there should be lots of brainstorming to solve the problem, to find the solution. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. I don't like you, so get out. Or I'm getting out because I don't. No. Things can be worked out. There are two Nigerians have been speaking about two things, particularly on this side of Nigeria. They talk about restructuring, they talk about autonomy. I genuinely believe that outside these two options, there may be other options. People should just sit down and listen and work this out to be a solution that is acceptable to everybody. Thank you very much.